The trucking industry has always rewarded practicality. If a truck could haul more weight, climb steeper grades, survive rougher roads, or save fuel, somebody somewhere was willing to build it, even if the result looked completely bizarre. Throughout the 20th century, manufacturers experimented with odd layouts, futuristic cab designs, giant tires, unusual drivetrains, and radical engineering concepts that often looked too strange to succeed. Yet many of these weird machines proved incredibly capable in real-world service. Some were built for mountain logging routes. Others hauled freight across deserts, Arctic ice, or crowded cities where conventional trucks simply could not operate efficiently. A few looked so unusual that drivers laughed at them at first, until the trucks started outperforming the competition. These are 10 strange trucks that looked unbelievable, but genuinely worked in the real world. Number 1. Jeep Forward Control. At first glance, the Jeep Forward Control looked more like a cartoon delivery van than a serious truck. Introduced in 1956 by Willys Motors, the Forward Control pushed the cab all the way to the front axle in a cab-over engine configuration. The driver practically sat on top of the front wheels, while the engine lived underneath the cab. The result was one of the strangest-looking American trucks ever built. But this odd design solved a major problem. Traditional pickup trucks wasted a lot of space with long hoods and oversized wheelbases. The Forward Control shortened the overall length while keeping a large cargo bed. The FC-150 model carried a 6-foot bed despite being shorter overall than many compact cars of the era. The truck was based heavily on Jeep CJ mechanical components, which made it rugged and capable off-road. Four-wheel drive came standard on most models, and the Forward Control found success in places where maneuverability mattered more than appearance. Airports used them as service trucks, railroads used them as maintenance vehicles, utility companies, fire departments, and military operators also found them surprisingly effective. The design looked futuristic in the 1950s. Brooks Stevens, the industrial designer behind the project, intentionally styled the cab to resemble modern heavy cab-over trucks. Buyers at the time often considered it too radical, but the truck proved incredibly useful in specialty roles. Nearly 10,000 units were produced in 1957 alone, showing that this strange concept clearly worked in the right environment. Even today, the Jeep Forward Control remains one of the weirdest production trucks ever sold in America. Yet its unusual layout influenced decades of compact commercial truck design around the world. Number 2. Mercedes-Benz Unimog. When the Unimog first appeared in 1948, almost nobody knew what to make of it. It looked like someone had bolted a small truck cab onto a tractor chassis and called it a day. The wheels were huge. The body sat strangely high off the ground. The cab looked tiny, boxy, and awkward. To most people, it seemed like a confused machine that did not know whether it wanted to be a farm tractor, a military vehicle, or a delivery truck. But that strange appearance hid one of the most capable trucks ever built. The name Unimog came from the German phrase Universal Motorgerät, meaning universal motorized device. Engineer Albert Friedrich designed it after World War II to be a multi-purpose machine that could plow fields, haul cargo, climb mountains, and even drive across rivers. The result was a vehicle unlike anything else on the road. The Unimog used portal axles, which raised the differentials high above the wheel centers. This gave the truck enormous ground clearance compared to ordinary vehicles. Flexible coil spring suspension allowed each wheel to move independently over obstacles, helping the truck climb terrain that would stop a standard four-wheel drive completely. Some models could even tilt sideways at extreme angles without tipping over. The cab looked oddly small because designers prioritized visibility and weight balance over comfort. Drivers sat upright in a narrow square cabin that felt more like a tractor than a truck. Yet that simple layout proved incredibly practical for the rough work the Unimog was built to handle. Farmers used it for plowing and hauling. Militaries used it as a troop carrier and supply vehicle. Fire departments used it for wildfire response in mountain regions. Utility companies used it to reach power lines in places no normal truck could go. The Unimog even completed brutal long-distance expeditions across deserts, jungles, and Arctic ice. Production continues to this day, more than 75 years after the original design. Few vehicles in history have remained relevant for so long. The Unimog looked strange because it was built to do everything, and somehow it actually did. Number 3. Freightliner aluminum cabover trucks. In the 1940s and 1950s, most heavy trucks were built with steel bodies and long conventional hoods. Freightliner went in the opposite direction. The company began building lightweight aluminum cabover trucks that looked narrow, tall, and awkward compared to traditional American rigs. Many drivers initially thought they looked flimsy and unsafe, but Freightliner's strange idea worked brilliantly. Founder Leland James believed aluminum could reduce vehicle weight significantly while improving fuel efficiency and payload capacity. By replacing heavier steel components with aluminum, Freightliner trucks could legally carry more cargo without exceeding weight limits. The cabover layout also became extremely important. Many American states had strict overall vehicle length laws during the 1950s. A cabover design allowed carriers to maximize trailer length while keeping the total truck length legal. Freightliner even introduced overhead sleeper cabs in 1953 to improve long-haul comfort within these restrictive rules. The trucks looked unusual because the driver sat directly above the engine with almost no front hood. Heat, noise, and vibration inside early cabovers could be brutal. Yet the design provided better maneuverability and more cargo space efficiency for long-distance freight hauling. Freightliner also experimented with unusual engineering solutions. One early model could operate on gasoline, diesel, or liquefied propane. Another four-wheel drive Mountaineer tractor was developed specifically for snowy mountain operations. By focusing on efficiency instead of traditional styling, Freightliner became one of the most influential truck manufacturers in North America. What once looked strange eventually became normal across the trucking industry. Number 4. Willys Jeep Truck. The Willys Jeep Truck looked strange because it combined military Jeep styling with a full-size pickup body at a time when most trucks followed far more conventional designs. Introduced in 1947, it appeared tall, narrow, and unusually rugged compared to mainstream pickups from Ford or Chevrolet. Yet the truck was years ahead of its time. The Willys Jeep Truck came standard with serious off-road capability, something extremely rare for civilian pickups during the late 90s. It offered four-wheel drive, heavy-duty axles, and durable drivetrains designed for farms, logging operations, construction sites, and remote rural areas. While competitors focused mainly on paved road hauling, Willys targeted customers who needed real off-road mobility. The truck's engineering borrowed heavily from military Jeep experience gained during World War II. This gave it excellent traction and reliability in rough terrain. The styling also stood out dramatically. Instead of wide-flowing fenders and chrome-heavy designs common during the era, the Willys truck looked almost industrial. The upright grille, narrow cab, and exposed utility-focused body panels made it appear more like agricultural equipment than a stylish pickup. But buyers who actually used trucks for hard work appreciated its capabilities. Over 200,000 examples were produced between 1947 and 1965. The Willys Jeep Truck helped establish the idea of the civilian four-wheel drive pickup, decades before the modern off-road truck boom. Many of today's rugged pickups owe part of their philosophy to this strange-looking workhorse. Number 5. Marmon Motor Company trucks. By the 1970s and 1980s, most American trucks were designed around practicality and cost efficiency. Then came Marmon trucks, giant handmade luxury semis that looked almost absurdly expensive compared to ordinary highway tractors. These trucks became known as the Rolls-Royce of trucks. The company focused on premium construction and customization. Marmon trucks often used highly polished aluminum, enormous sleepers, custom interiors, and oversized hoods. Many were built almost individually to customer specifications rather than mass-produced on assembly lines. The trucks looked unusual because they were designed with almost no compromise toward cost reduction. While most manufacturers focused on fleet sales, Marmon targeted owner-operators who wanted prestige, comfort, and exclusivity. Underneath the flashy appearance, however, Marmons were serious working trucks. Their powerful drivetrains and heavy-duty construction made them highly capable long-haul machines. Drivers appreciated their comfort and durability, especially during cross-country operations. The downside was price. Marmons were expensive to build and lacked a large nationwide dealer network. Although the trucks developed a loyal following, the company struggled against larger manufacturers with stronger support systems. Production finally ended in 1997. Even so, Marmon trucks proved that there was a market for premium handcrafted semis. They looked excessive and strange for freight hauling, but many operators considered them among the best driving trucks ever built. Number 6. Ford Gas Turbine Truck. During the 1960s, engineers believed gas turbines might replace conventional diesel engines in trucks. Ford responded by developing experimental turbine-powered trucks that looked incredibly futuristic. Unlike piston engines, gas turbines operated more like jet engines. They used spinning turbine blades and high-speed airflow to generate power. The engines produced a distinctive high-pitched whine instead of the deep rumble associated with diesel trucks. Ford's turbine trucks looked bizarre because designers wanted them to appear advanced and aerodynamic. Some concepts featured smooth, curved bodywork, wraparound windshields, and futuristic instrument panels that resembled aircraft cockpits more than traditional truck interiors. Surprisingly, the technology actually worked. Turbine engines offered smooth power delivery, fewer moving parts, and the ability to run on multiple fuel types. Engineers hoped they would reduce maintenance and improve reliability. However, serious drawbacks emerged. Turbine engines consumed large amounts of fuel at lower speeds and produced extremely high exhaust temperatures. The engines also responded slowly to throttle inputs compared to conventional diesels, which created drivability issues for heavy hauling. Despite these problems, the trucks successfully demonstrated that turbine-powered commercial vehicles were technically possible. Several manufacturers around the world experimented with similar concepts during the era. The idea never became commercially practical, but the trucks themselves absolutely functioned as intended. They remain some of the strangest working semis ever tested on American roads. Number 7. Kenworth K100. The Kenworth K100 looked radically different from traditional American trucks because it completely abandoned the long-nose design associated with classic semis. Instead, the cab sat directly over the engine, giving the truck a tall, flat front that resembled a moving building. To many drivers, it looked awkward and dangerous. But the K100 became one of the most successful cabover trucks ever built in North America. The reason was simple: efficiency. During the mid-20th century, overall vehicle length laws limited how long tractor-trailer combinations could be. Cabover trucks allowed companies to pull longer trailers while staying within legal limits. The K100 also improved maneuverability in crowded cities and loading docks. Its shorter wheelbase helped drivers navigate tighter spaces compared to conventional long-hood tractors. The truck became especially popular with long-haul operators during the 1970s. Drivers appreciated the visibility and compact size, although the ride quality could be rough because the cab sat directly above the front axle. Early cabovers also required drivers to tilt the entire cab forward for engine access, creating a strange maintenance experience compared to ordinary trucks. Despite the unusual appearance, the K100 proved highly practical for freight hauling. It became an icon of the American trucking industry and appeared frequently in movies, television shows, and highway photography. Eventually, relaxed length regulations reduced the need for cabover trucks in North America. But for decades, strange-looking machines like the K100 dominated long-haul freight routes because they genuinely worked better under the laws of the time. Number 8. Oshkosh HEMTT. The Oshkosh HEMTT is one of the most intimidating trucks ever built. Its enormous size, massive tires, and extreme off-road capability make it look more like a science fiction military vehicle than a practical transport truck. Yet it became one of the most successful military logistics trucks ever produced. Introduced for the United States military during the 1980s, the AMTT was designed to carry heavy loads across terrain where normal trucks would become stuck almost immediately. The truck used an 8-wheel drive configuration with advanced suspension systems and centralized tire inflation technology. The appearance was undeniably strange. The cab looked tiny compared to the huge chassis and oversized wheels. The vehicle sat extremely high off the ground, and its proportions appeared almost unrealistic, but the design served important purposes. The large tires improved mobility on mud, sand, and snow. High ground clearance allowed the truck to cross obstacles that would destroy ordinary vehicles. The powerful drivetrain enabled it to haul fuel, ammunition, missiles, recovery equipment, and engineering supplies directly to frontline areas. Unlike many experimental military concepts, the HEMTT proved extremely reliable in real operations. Thousands were produced, and the truck remains in service decades later. Its strange appearance came directly from its mission requirements. Every oversized component existed because the truck needed to survive in environments where normal transportation systems failed. Number 9. Foden S21. One of the strangest commercial trucks ever built came from Britain. The Foden S21 used a central driving position, placing the driver in the middle of the cab rather than on the left or right side. The idea sounded ridiculous at first, but Foden engineers believed the design offered genuine advantages. A central seating position provided equal visibility on both sides of the truck, which helped in crowded urban areas and narrow European streets. It also simplified exports because the same cab design could work in both left-hand drive and right-hand drive countries. The truck's futuristic appearance shocked buyers during the 1960s. The cab looked almost like a spaceship cockpit, with the driver sitting alone in the center and passengers positioned slightly behind on either side. Although unusual, the truck worked surprisingly well. Drivers reported excellent visibility and improved awareness in traffic. The design also created a more symmetrical cab layout that reduced blind spots. However, practical issues limited widespread adoption. Entering and exiting the cab became awkward. Drivers also preferred conventional layouts because they were more familiar and easier to operate during long shifts. Even though the concept never became mainstream, the Foden S21 proved that radically different cab arrangements could still function effectively in real commercial service. Number 10. Terex Titan. The Terex Titan looked so enormous that many people assumed it could not possibly be real. Built in the 1970s, this gigantic off-highway mining truck became one of the largest trucks ever constructed. The Titan dwarfed ordinary highway vehicles. Its tires alone stood taller than many people. The truck weighed hundreds of tons and carried payloads that seemed almost impossible for a single vehicle. Despite its unbelievable appearance, the Titan genuinely worked in Canadian mining operations. The truck was powered by a massive diesel-electric drivetrain, similar to those used in locomotives. Instead of directly driving the wheels mechanically, the diesel engine generated electricity for electric wheel motors. This allowed smoother power delivery and enormous torque for hauling heavy mining loads. The cab looked tiny compared to the rest of the machine. Climbing into the truck required ladders resembling staircases. Maintenance crews often needed specialized equipment simply to service the giant components. Yet the Titan successfully hauled huge quantities of ore in open-pit mines. Its design helped reduce transportation costs by allowing fewer trips with larger loads. Although only one prototype was ultimately built, the truck demonstrated the practicality of ultra-large mining haulers. Many modern mining trucks followed similar design principles afterward. The Titan remains one of the strangest and most impressive working trucks ever created. A machine so large that it still seems unbelievable even today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.